Star Wars promotes new The High Republic cover featuring trans non-binary Jedi twins in support of International Transgender Day of Visibility. Coming from an article from Boundary to Comics, check them out on the Twitter that reads as follows, quote, in honor of the International Transgender Day of Visibility, Star Wars has revealed a new variant cover for Star Wars The High Republic Issue 6, depicting the newly introduced trans non-binary Jedi twins, Tarek and Seret, end quote. Now, this thing, of course, is a variant cover, and you might say, well, why are you making such a fuss if this is just a variant cover? It's all going to be part of the original main cover. But it's already part of the original story. During the second issue of these Marvel comics, it had already been said that these two guys were non-binary because someone, I think it was Ivor Chris, because it's the bestest ever, right, addressed them as they because they have no pronouns like he or she and all that crap. And this is the situation. Once again, we are given proof that Star Wars is dead. That all those that said Star Wars was going to be saved by the likes of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are all wrong. They are not only incorrect in their assumptions, but they have also lost sight of the bigger picture, which in this case is, simply put, that there is no real direction inside Lucasfilm as to where Star Wars should go and where it should be. That is evident from the very beginning, in which we also have inside this very same High Republic thing Geode making its wonderful appearance there in this ship called the Vessel. And who pilots this ship? How? Don't ask, because, it's just completely stupid how this thing that is just a mere rock can do something like that. But again, it's just me, maybe, making these questions. Of course, I also feel and have the impression that they are doing this more and more to mock the fans and to set the statement loud and clear. We don't care about you and we don't care about what you want. The least thing we want is for you to enjoy things. Why do I say this, you may ask? Well, because in the very same article, Boundary to Comics says, quote, alongside the cover, Star Wars official social media account, with the curious exception of their Twitter, wrote, quote, we support trans lives and we are passionate and committed to broadening our representation in a galaxy far, far away. Hashtag the Trans Day of Visibility. End quote. And that is exactly what I am talking about. They excluded Twitter. Curiously enough, most of the backlash that has been going on ever since the firing of Gina Carano has been going on inside, of course, Twitter and YouTube. And interestingly enough as well, this week, YouTube announced that they were going to have a pilot program in which the creators could hide the dislikes. Why? Well, in my opinion, this is done simply because they are pandering, catering, and bending the knee to those companies and corporations that want to keep their likes up and running, of course, for everyone to see how much people agree with them, and denying fans and critics the opportunity to actually voice their opinions and say, I don't like this shite, I don't support this shite, you go and crap on your own pants, or something along those lines. Data Racer, shout out to Data Racer 117, a Twitter account with a lot of knowledge on what's going on all the time, also warned the Fandom Menace, the group of fans that wants to restabilize the greatness of Star Wars, that this was done apparently to get people doxxed, to discourage people to voice their dislike and to not say their opinions, because on Facebook things are different than on Twitter, for example. Whether that is true or not, It's curious to see what social media sites they have chosen for their various announcements, and I can only say that if they are going to go in this route, then I mean, it's not news to anyone that companies have been trying for some time now to divert the attention to the negative aspect of what they are doing. They are trying to spin the narrative that everything is going as well and nice in Hollywood, for example, and that their products, their productions, their series, their films, whatever you want them to produce, everything is going smooth and fine. We know otherwise. Simply because Kathleen Kennedy has dedicated all through her tenure inside Lucasfilm to create chaos everywhere she goes, from firing directors and changing narratives and postponing the filming of shows for which apparently she already had the scripts ready by Kenobi. Of course, all that sends the message loud and clear. They don't know what they are doing and they don't have any clue. Even the things that they do on their own, such as this, is completely baffling and somehow feels out of place. Why? Because we're talking about a galaxy far, far away in this particular case, right? Yet, it's filled with modern day issues. It's filled with modern day propaganda. It's filled with modern day politics. And don't get me wrong, Star Wars from the very beginning has tried to somehow make analogies to what is going on in the world, but one thing is making an analogy such as what happened with the evil empire at the beginning of Star Wars in 1977 that resembled the Nazi Germany, and another thing is just to bluntly put it out there. This thing is no longer an analogy of sorts. This thing is openly there, and it just feels stupid because it doesn't really seem to have any place in this story. The Star Wars lore tells us that this takes place in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. Why then are there issues that are facing the world right now, or the world is rather facing right now, modern day politics and all that? It doesn't really make sense, and it doesn't really feel like it is Star Wars anymore. That's why I am calling it out and saying that this is another level of cringe. There will be some who will say that this is exactly the thing that we were asking for, that they created new characters and that they didn't mess up with the already established one. And partially that is true. However, I can't stop feeling like this is cringe and it feels a little bit wrong. Then again, Star Wars is dead to me already, so what do I care, right? But I just make this video to warn everyone who disagrees with this to voice your opinions cautiously if that is true, that they did it in order to dox people, to say it on Facebook. To me, the best course of action would be just to ignore this, to ignore the actual publication, to ignore the videos, to ignore the publications on Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, because that is exactly what hurts them the most, that nobody cares about these things. And yet, you might be thinking that I am drawing attention to this thing by making this video, and you are partially right, but I am doing it so that you don't have to. I do this so that you are well aware and you do not fall into the trap. If it is true that they have done this in order to get people to be discouraged to voice their opinions, just let them know in another way that you disagree with this by simply ignoring what they are doing. Believe me that the more we ignore these sorts of products, the faster we're going to go back to the entertainment that most of us really enjoyed in the past, and we are going to get rid of terrible situations such as this one, in which we get given crap every single time. You decide.